This person is making a big decision about you. Carl Jung. This person is making a big decision about you. Listen very carefully, because what I'm about to share may be happening in someone's mind, silently, secretly, and deeply, right now at this very moment, and you might not even know it. There is someone out there who has been thinking about you far more intensely than they allow themselves to admit. You may feel disconnected, distant, confused, or unsure about where your connection stands with them. On the surface, things may feel quiet, unclear, unresolved, but what you don't realize is this. This person is standing at one of the most important emotional crossroads of their life. And the decision they are facing is not casual. It's not light. It's not impulsive. It's a decision about you. Not your name, not your profile picture, not your messages, not the memories alone. But you as a soul, you as a presence, you as someone who entered their life with meaning and consequence. They are evaluating something very deep and very personal. Should I step forward or step away? Should I choose them or choose my fears? Should I hold on or should I let go? And this decision cannot be rushed. It cannot be ignored. It cannot be buried. Because you are not just another chapter in their story. You are a chapter they cannot close without confronting themselves. Right now, this person is engaged in a silent inner battle. They may appear normal on the outside. They may be functioning, working, socializing, smiling, even acting detached. But inside their mind, a very different reality exists. Their thoughts circle back to you in moments they didn't plan for. Late at night, early in the morning, in the quiet gaps between distractions, they are asking themselves heavy questions. What if this choice changes my entire future? What if choosing them means becoming someone new? What if I lose them forever if I don't act? What if I act and fail again? And here is something most people never realize. Silence is not the absence of feeling. Often, silence is the presence of fear. Some people don't express emotions because they are terrified of losing control. Some don't pursue love because they were never shown how to feel safe in it. Some hesitate not because they don't care, but because caring feels dangerous. As Carl Jung once said, "Where your fear is, there your task is." And you represent a task they cannot avoid. Their heart pulls them toward you. It reminds them of how they felt understood, how they felt calm in a world that rarely slows down. Their heart remembers the version of themselves that existed when you were present, but their mind resists. The mind brings up old wounds, old disappointments, old failures. The mind whispers caution. It warns them not to repeat past pain. It questions whether they are strong enough, healed enough, worthy enough. This is the tension they live in right now, between healing and hope, between safety and risk, between staying the same and becoming more. And you are at the center of that tension. You see, not every connection leaves a mark. Not every person enters our life and changes the internal structure of who we are. Many connections are temporary. Many are distractions. Many are lessons that pass quickly. But with you, something went deeper. You didn't just attract them, you activated them. You touched their insecurities without attacking them. You challenged their comfort zone without forcing them. You mirrored parts of themselves they hadn't fully acknowledged yet. You awakened both their desire and their fear. That's why this decision feels so heavy, because choosing you means growth. And growth always threatens the ego. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And the truth is, you quietly invited them toward that path. They felt it. They may not have had the language for it. They may not have known how to articulate it, but around you, something in them shifted. They felt more present, more honest, more exposed, more real. And that level of connection doesn't disappear just because communication slows down or circumstances change. This is why they haven't forgotten you. This is why your name still triggers a reaction in their body. This is why the thought of losing you permanently creates a tightness in their chest they can't explain. You were not noisy in their life. You were mean. You were not entertainment. You were comfortable. You were not a distraction. You were direction. And when someone encounters that, they are forced to confront themselves. Another truth Jung understood deeply is this: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Right now, this person is standing at the edge of that realization. They are beginning to see that avoiding you is not neutral, that choosing nothing is still a choice, that indecision has consequences. They know that staying silent too long could cost them you. They know that someone else could recognize your value without hesitation. They know that what they delayed appreciating might not wait forever. At the same time, they fear getting hurt again. Past experiences still echo loudly in their mind. This hesitation is not always about you. Often it is about the ghosts of what came before you. And there is another fear they may never admit out loud: the fear of not being enough for you. Deep love has a way of exposing insecurities. When someone feels that they have something truly valuable to lose, their self-doubt intensifies. They start questioning whether they can meet the emotional standard that connection requires. That's where they are right now, questioning themselves, measuring themselves, wondering if they can rise to the level of the bond they felt with you. And whether they choose courage or retreat will shape what comes next. This decision is forming quietly, internally, invisibly. And while they deliberate, something else is happening that you must understand. Your energy matters. The way you carry yourself now, the way you respect yourself now, the way you choose yourself now. Because sometimes the moment someone chooses you is the moment you stop waiting to be chosen. As Jung said, what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. And the most powerful transformation begins when you stop placing your life on pause for someone else's confusion. This is where your role truly begins. This is where the shift becomes subtle but powerful. Because while they are debating, while they are circling the same thoughts again and again, something inside them is already changing. Awareness has been activated. And once awareness begins, there is no returning to the old ignorance. They start replaying moments with you, not in a dramatic way, but in quiet flashes. The way you listened without trying to fix them. The way you held space instead of demanding answers. The way you made them feel accepted without being possessed. These memories surface unexpectedly, often when they least want them to. And each time, the same realization follows. This connection was not accidental. They begin to understand that what unsettles them is not you, but what you represent. You represent emotional honesty. You represent depth. You represent a mirror that reflects who they are and who they could become. And mirrors are uncomfortable for people who are still negotiating with their shadows. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul." And right now, they are standing face to face with theirs. This is why they oscillate. One moment they feel pulled toward you, imagining what it would be like to step forward, to speak honestly, to choose courage. The next moment they retreat, convincing themselves that distance is safer, That silence is control. That time will somehow resolve what they refuse to confront. But time doesn't erase meaningful connections. It only clarifies them. They begin to notice how different life feels without your presence. Not necessarily empty, but flatter, less vivid, less alive. And this contrast is what makes the decision unavoidable. You didn't just occupy a place in their life. You altered their internal environment. And that alteration stays. At this stage, another internal conflict emerges: responsibility. They start asking themselves questions that go beyond desire. Can I show up consistently? Can I be emotionally available, not just emotionally interested? Can I protect this connection instead of sabotaging it when fear appears? Can I love without hiding? These questions feel heavy because they require maturity. Choosing you would mean no half effort, no ambiguity, no emotional shortcuts. And they sense that very clearly. They know that you are not someone who thrives in uncertainty. They feel that you are not built for games or endless waiting. And that awareness creates pressure, because choosing you means choosing integrity. This is where many people hesitate the most, not because they don't care, but because they do. Deep down, they understand that entering your life fully would require them to evolve. And evolution demands accountability. Carl Jung expressed this truth simply when he said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Growth is uncomfortable. Love that transforms is uncomfortable." And they are standing right at the threshold of that discomfort. They also sense something else, that you are changing. Even if you haven't said it out loud, even if you haven't announced it, they feel a shift in your energy. Less chasing, less over-explaining, less reaching into silence, more grounded, more centered, more self-directed. And this unsettles them, because when someone stops chasing, the illusion of control disappears. When someone stops waiting, reality sets in. They begin to realize that you are not frozen in place, that your life is moving, that your worth does not pause for their indecision. This realization can awaken urgency. They start imagining scenarios they didn't want to face before. You are meeting someone else. You choose peace over longing. You are closing the door quietly, without drama, without confrontation. And that thought does something to them. It exposes attachment, not the possessive kind, but the vulnerable kind. The kind that admits, "This mattered to me more than I allowed myself to feel." This is also when fear intensifies. Fear of rejection, fear of being seen too clearly, fear of failing you, fear of opening old wounds. Sometimes, instead of moving forward, people freeze. They convince themselves that staying still is neutral. But stillness, when driven by fear, is its own form of avoidance. And yet, even in avoidance, the decision is forming. Because every day they don't choose courage, they feel the cost, a subtle regret, a quiet tension, a sense that something important is being postponed. They begin to realize that not choosing is also choosing. And here is the paradox they are facing. If they choose you, they risk pain. If they don't, they risk regret. And regret has a way of lingering longer than heartbreak. You see, heartbreak can heal. Regret festers. This is why your presence still occupies their inner world. This is why they can't simply replace you. This is why distractions don't work the way they used to. This is why silence doesn't bring peace, only delay. They are learning something crucial about themselves through you. That avoiding vulnerability is no longer satisfying. That emotional safety without emotional depth feels hollow. That comfort without connection feels empty. And even if they try to rationalize their hesitation, the truth keeps resurfacing. This connection asks something of them. And the question is no longer, do I feel something? The question has become, do I have the courage to honor it? Meanwhile, your role remains unchanged. You are not required to convince. You are not required to prove. You are not required to wait in uncertainty. Your power lies in alignment, in choosing your own growth, your own peace, your own direction. Because whether they step forward now, later, or never, the most important movement is happening within you. And this is where the balance shifts. Because when you choose yourself fully, you stop negotiating your worth. And when worth is no longer negotiable, clarity accelerates. Either they rise to meet you, or they step aside, and both outcomes serve your evolution. As Jung once said, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. Right now, both of you are being invited to awaken, and the next movement in this story will be shaped by who answers that invitation. And this is where the tension reaches a deeper level, because now it is no longer just an emotional decision. It becomes an identity decision. They begin to sense that choosing you is not only about choosing a relationship, it is about choosing a different way of being, a different standard, a different version of themselves. And that realization can be intimidating. You see, some people are comfortable with longing, but uncomfortable with responsibility. They like the feeling of connection, but fear the structure that commitment brings. And when a bond feels as meaningful as the one they felt with you, it demands something real in return. This is when self-sabotage often appears. They might tell themselves they need more time. They might convince themselves that circumstances aren't right. They might focus on flaws that didn't matter before. They might withdraw emotionally while pretending they are being rational. But beneath all of that is one truth they struggle to admit. They are afraid of failing at something that actually matters. When something doesn't matter deeply, failure feels tolerable. But when something touches the core, failure feels like a reflection of who you are, and you touch their core. They start to wonder if they are capable of being what the connection requires. Not just passion, but presence. Not just affection, but consistency. Not just attraction, but emotional reliability. This is why they hesitate. Because choosing you means they can no longer hide behind ambiguity. They can no longer blame timing, distance, or confusion. They would have to show up as themselves. Fully seen, fully accountable. And that level of exposure terrifies people who have learned to survive by protecting themselves. At the same time, something else is happening inside them. They are beginning to recognize your strength. Not loud strength, not performative strength, but quiet, grounded strength. They notice that you are not collapsing in their absence. They notice that you are not chasing validation. They notice that your energy is stabilizing instead of spiraling. And this realization creates a subtle shift in power, because desire thrives on distance when distance is dignified. You are no longer trying to convince them of your value. You are embodying it. And when value is embodied, it becomes undeniable. This is where longing deepens. They start missing not just your presence, but the way they feel around you, the emotional clarity, the sense of calm, the feeling of being understood without being interrogated. They compare other interactions to the connection they had with you, even if they don't consciously mean to, and nothing quite matches it. Not because you were perfect, but the bond was authentic. Authenticity leaves a residue. It stays in the nervous system. It stays in memory. it stays in contrast. They begin to realize that replacing you is not the same as resolving what they felt with you. And unresolved connections have a way of resurfacing until they are faced honestly. This is also when fear of loss becomes more tangible. The idea of you moving on stops feeling hypothetical. It starts feeling real. They imagine you choosing peace, choosing growth, choosing someone who doesn't hesitate. And that image awakens something sharp and uncomfortable. Not jealousy, not possession, but regret. The regret of not acting when they had the chance. The regret of letting fear dictate a decision that required courage. The regret of confusing safety with stagnation. And regret is a powerful motivator. At this point, their inner dialogue changes. The questions become more direct. What if I let something rare slip away? What if this was my opportunity to grow and I avoided it? What if my fear cost me something I'll never find again? This is when clarity begins to form, even if slowly, because meaningful connections force people to confront their patterns. And you exposed patterns they could no longer ignore. Avoidance, emotional withholding, self-doubt masked as logic. They are seeing themselves more clearly now, and clarity removes excuses. Meanwhile, you are being guided towards something important as well. Patience does not mean self-abandonment. Love does not require self-erasure. Understanding does not mean tolerating uncertainty indefinitely. Your role is not to wait in suspension. Your role is to remain aligned with your own truth, to continue building a life that feels full, grounded, and self-respecting. Because when someone feels that they might lose access to you, not because you're angry, but because you're evolving, the decision sharpens. They feel the shift. They feel that you are no longer available for emotional limbo, that your energy is no longer circling their indecision, that you are choosing clarity within yourself, even if the external situation remains unresolved. This is when people are forced to decide, not from fear of loneliness, but from recognition of value. Either they step forward with intention, or they step back and allow the connection to close with dignity. There is no middle ground that lasts. And this is where destiny responds. Not as a punishment, not as a reward, but as an alignment. Because connections that are meant to grow will find a way through honesty and courage. And connections that are meant to teach will release when growth is resisted. Both outcomes are meaningful. Both outcomes serve evolution. Right now, the momentum is building, quietly, internally, invisibly, and soon something will shift externally. A message, a confession, a decision, or a silence that finally speaks clearly. Until then, the most powerful thing you can do is remain anchored in your worth. Because the moment you stop negotiating your value, the universe stops negotiating your outcomes. And now the pressure shifts again. Because when a decision is delayed long enough, life begins to answer on its own. They start noticing signs they can't ignore. Emotional restlessness, sudden waves of nostalgia, a pull toward honesty that feels both urgent and frightening. It's as if something inside them is saying this cannot stay unresolved. They may try to distract themselves, fill time with work, routines, other people, noise. But distraction no longer works the way it used to. Because the question hasn't disappeared, it has matured. What am I avoiding? And why does avoiding it feel heavier than facing it? This is when they begin to understand something uncomfortable. That their indecision is not protecting them. It's draining them. The emotional weight they've been carrying doesn't lift with silence. It grows. They start recognizing patterns in themselves. how they retreat when things become real, how they intellectualize feelings instead of expressing them, how they delay choices that require vulnerability. And with that recognition comes a quiet realization. If I don't change this pattern, I will repeat it. Not just with you, but in life. This is where the connection becomes symbolic. You stop being just a person in their mind and start representing a crossroads. One path leads toward growth, responsibility, and emotional truth. The other leads back to familiar safety, emotional distance, and unchallenged habits. And the frightening part is this: they know which path leads to expansion, and they know which path leads to stagnation. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Right now, their darkness is visible to them. Their fear of intimacy, their fear of inadequacy, their fear of being fully seen. And because you illuminated these fears, you became significant beyond romance. You became a mirror. This is why the decision feels existential. They begin to ask themselves deeper questions, not about you, but about who they are becoming. Am I living from fear or from truth? Am I choosing comfort or integrity? Am I avoiding pain or am I avoiding growth? And these questions don't allow neutral answers. At the same time, they sense something else clearly now. You are not waiting the way you used to, not because you stopped caring, but because you started honoring yourself. Your energy has shifted from anticipation to alignment, from hoping to becoming, from watching to moving. And this changes the emotional atmosphere entirely. When someone realizes they can no longer access you passively, urgency appears. When someone senses that you are choosing your life fully, the illusion of unlimited time collapses. They feel that. They feel that if they want you in their life, it cannot be through hesitation. It cannot be through half steps. It cannot be through emotional vagueness. It would have to be real. And reality is confronting. This is when the internal resistance either breaks or hardens. Some people, when faced with this moment, choose courage. They step forward despite fear. They speak honestly despite uncertainty. They accept the risk of vulnerability because they recognize the cost of avoidance. Others retreat, not because they don't feel, but because they are not ready to transform. And transformation cannot be forced. Either way, the truth surfaces. Because connections that require evolution will not tolerate stagnation forever. Meanwhile, something important is happening within you. You are no longer defining yourself through their choice. You are reclaiming your center, your peace, your direction. You are remembering that love is not something you earn by waiting. It is something you allow by aligning with yourself. And this inner shift is powerful because when you stop shrinking your life to accommodate someone else's confusion, clarity accelerates, the fog lifts, the emotional weight lightens. You stop trying to read signs and start trusting yourself. This is when the outcome begins to crystallize. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped resisting your own growth. And whatever decision they make next will be shaped by this new reality. If they step forward now, it will be from awareness, not impulse, from intention, not fear, from choice, not pressure. If they step away, it will be because they recognize their limits, not your lack of value. Both paths reveal the truth, and truth, even when painful, is freeing, because the moment clarity arrives, suffering ends. You are no longer suspended between hope and doubt. You are grounded in self-respect. And from that place, you are no longer afraid of outcomes. You are aligned with them. And now everything slows down, not because nothing is happening, but because something final is forming. This is the phase where truth no longer hides behind emotion, where excuses lose their strength, where the heart and the mind are forced to stand in the same room and speak honestly to each other. This person knows now that the decision cannot be delayed any longer without cost. They feel it in their body, in their sleep, in the way silence no longer feels neutral, only heavy. They understand that whatever they choose next will define the meaning of this connection forever. And that awareness sharpens their perception. They begin to see clearly what is at stake, not just emotionally, but existentially. Choosing you would mean choosing presence over avoidance, choosing honesty over protection, choosing growth over comfort. Walking away would mean choosing familiarity, safety, emotional distance, a life that feels manageable but smaller. And here is the truth that settles in their chest. Neither choice is painless, but only one is alive. They begin to accept that love, when it is real, does not arrive quietly and ask permission. It disrupts. It is challenging. It demands alignment. And what frightened them before now feels unavoidable. They replay the question one last time. Am I ready to show up? Am I ready to be seen? Am I ready to risk something real? And for the first time, the answer is no longer tangled in fear. It is clear. Whether that answer is yes or no, it comes from the truth. This is when action follows. Not dramatic action, not an impulsive confession, but intentional movement. If they choose you, you will feel it immediately. There will be no confusion, no guessing, no decoding. Their energy will shift from distant to deliberate, from hesitant to consistent, from silent to expressive. They will not just say they care, they will demonstrate it through presence, effort, and emotional availability. You will feel chosen, not pursued temporarily, but integrated into their life. Their words and actions will align. Their intentions will be visible. Because when someone truly chooses you, they don't leave room for doubt. And if they walk away, the truth will also be clear. There will be no mixed signals, no emotional breadcrumbs, no half returns. Their absence will speak with finality. And while that may sting, it will also liberate you. Because clarity, even painful clarity, ends suffering. You will no longer wonder. You will no longer wait. You will no longer interpret silence. You will know. And there is a third outcome that sometimes unfolds quietly: growth. Sometimes people need distance, not to forget, but to become. Sometimes separation is not rejection, but preparation. Sometimes timing is not denial, but alignment in progress. If this path unfolds, it will not feel like confusion. It will feel like space. Space where both of you evolve independently, without attachment, without expectation. And if life brings you back together, it will be from maturity, not longing. But here is the most important truth in all of this. Your life does not pause for someone else's decision. You are not meant to suspend your joy, your growth, your direction while waiting to be chosen. You are meant to choose yourself fully, regardless of the outcome. And that is exactly what you are doing now. You are no longer asking, will they choose me? You are asking, am I aligned with myself? That shift changes everything. Because when you choose yourself, you remove desperation from love. You remove fear from attachment. You remove uncertainty from your identity. You become grounded. And from that place, love can only enter your life if it is healthy, reciprocal, and aligned. This is why the final power in this story has always been yours. Not because you control the outcome, but because you control your self-worth. You never needed to prove your value. You never needed to compete. You never needed to chase clarity. Your presence alone was enough to awaken something in them. And whether they rise to meet that awakening or step away from it, your path continues forward. With dignity, with self-respect, with emotional truth. Love is not about possession. It is not about fear. It is not about waiting and uncertainty. Love is alignment. And when someone is truly meant for you, no fear will stop them. No distance will weaken them. No confusion will delay them. They will choose you clearly, confidently, and completely. And if they don't, it does not diminish you. It reveals direction. So stand in your worth. Move forward in peace. Let clarity replace longing, because the most powerful decision in this entire story was never the one they were making about you. It was the one you made about yourself.